Right, let's reflect further now. We've got with us the actress in South Africa, Nambitha Mpumlwana, joining us for reflecting on the life of Nandi, but also to speak broadly about challenges facing actors in South Africa. Good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
When we invited you, we didn't imagine that, of course, this would be the situation.
This became more, didn't it?
It became, yeah.
I think Mrs. Nandi wanted the center stage, and she took it.
Yeah. What came to your mind when you then heard the news, having the knowledge that you're coming to have this conversation with us?
So I think the first call came in around 6 a.m. this morning, and it just hasn't stopped. But for me, that was people reaching out to me, but for me, it was reaching out to people that I know were close with her.
Yeah.
And so I called Charmaine. Charmaine, how you doing? I do, whew. And she was echoing my feelings, you know, and Tembi did not even answer my call. And when I spoke with Charmaine, she said she's probably going to be crying for a couple of days, so she's not going to be taking calls. That is the depth of love and friendship and connectedness that she had within the community. In that, Mrs. Nandi, I met her when we were doing Yizo Yizo. Yeah. Now, that would be about 25 years ago, and I've known her throughout. There are people in your career that you met once, 20, 30 years ago, and you meet again. Oh my gosh, look at you. How long has it been? Yeah. With her, it was always a continuation of a conversation. And she would remember things, a conversation or a situation. By the way, how did that pan out? Do you remember what we were talking about? So there was a connectedness with her, and her soul drove, and her heart drove and led everything that she absolutely, took. And that, of course, transferred onto the work that she did. And there is something that happens behind the scenes on set. I have been blessed in that in many of the productions that I've been, I would be either number 1 or number 2 on the call sheet. That's significant in that it's a hierarchy on set. This is the lead person, this is the second lead, this is the third lead, and so on and so forth. And Mrs. Nandi might show up being a number 7. But she taught me how to be number 1.
Wow.
The responsibilities of being number 1. She guided me through it by being number 1 while she was at number 7. So much so that I remember when I landed at Generations and they said, what number do you want? They choose. And I said, well, what's available? And they started at number 13. I said, I'll take 13. Because then I realized that I did not have to have the number 1 to behave like the number 1. I can mentor the young person I'm working with on set. I can take under my wing those who need comfort, support, and leadership. And that's what she did. It did not matter what situation you put her in. Wherever you go, Umama used to say, there you are.
Right. Now, you speak of this connectedness in the community. That connectedness, does it extend and to the challenges that you face as performers? Or, maybe an impression to others who say there are others who are doing better than others. And so when you are having these conversations of struggle, don't put us there. We are not part of that.
Look, in every career, in every line of work, there will be those who do better than others. And there will always be those who are struggling, those on the come up and those on the, on the top. With our industry, it's very subjective and it's very difficult. And I'm so grateful that she also was quite a champion for the rights of artists and actors in particular. And I remember an interview that she did where she was shaking her head saying she feels so sorry for the young ones right now because every casting room has a couch.
Sure.
That is difficult. And I know I've seen it. I know that there are people who are chosen because they are available or they have potential of, servicing that couch. And whether you're going to do it or not, but, I can aspire to maybe possibly having that situation with Nambitha. So let me bring her on board just in case. Yeah. We live in a patriarchal society, but we are surrounded by matriarchs who are raising these men who grow up to be these nasty people that treat women as such. Apart from that, she also fought for the rights of actors as far as the law is concerned. We work in a very unregulated industry. We do not have, you know, we're having a conversation with the Department of Employment and Labor just about a week or two ago. And the frustration of trying to explain, because he kept saying there is no law that prevents you from collective bargaining, from challenging any of this. And we kept saying to him, you can't challenge a contract you haven't signed. But once you've signed the contract, you've given away the right to challenge the contract. So where are we in the law?
Yeah.
We need our industry to be regulated.
Right.
We need the Performance Protection Amendment Bill to be signed by the president, so that people like Nandi can, her children can earn the residuals, can, every time Yizo is played, those kids can look at it and go, yeah, she looks good there, but she also looks good in the pocket because she did that.
That's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask you, as you're coming in, I mean, there's been this conversation on public platforms, some of it directed at yourself.
Yes, yes, sir. I remember. Because you're shopping. You
are doing normal things that people do, right?
And it's making news. You know what? But Tabo, that's a blessing, though.
Yeah.
You know that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Because my dad used to tell me that when people see you, it is an event in their life. It may be a moment of inconvenience for you, but that's an event in their life. So you need to take the time.
Right.
And you acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It's not that you owe them,
no,
but you just are generous with them.
With your time.
It's
so
a very
people
big
looked
difference.
at that and say, well,
so,
you know, the fate of South African
I will be photographed at Checkers because I shopped there. I spent 7 years advertising ShopRite on Umhlobo Wenene.
Yeah.
Every week for 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Where do you think I shop?
Right.
So I'm human.
The prospects of performers in South Africa financially.
Yes,
many
sir.
people say, well, it's not lucrative. Others are saying maybe even the prospects when compared to the spotlight that falls on them, even the body, the volume of work that they do, it doesn't match up.
Okay, first of all, talent is only 10% of this business. People will say, no, I'm talented, put me in. Did you go to school for this? I mean, I could be watching Law and Order for 5 years. That doesn't mean that I can represent you in court. So this is the only profession, and I say profession, where people take us for granted. They think that anybody can just come in and do it. That is part of the reason why we're not taken seriously. The banking sector does not take us seriously. And part of the reason is that contract. Remember we mentioned the contract earlier? Part of the reason is that contract, because that contract, and it's a SABC contract, at the end of that contract, it says, I am a permanent freelancer. I could be working there for 10 years and I will always be a permanent freelancer. That means I fall under the contract law. The Department of Employment and Labor cannot touch me after I sign that contract.
Explain what that means, permanent freelance, so that people can understand. What is the
hideous.
condition of your
It's
employment?
hideous.
Yeah.
It means, you remember when we, en masse, in 2014, got fired from Generations.
Right.
And that is because we're not deemed as employees. Oh, Sophie had been working there for 20-some odd years, but they were freelancers, permanently. They will never be employees. That means even if you pay into UIF, you will never be able to claim from that.
Yeah.
Because you are a freelancer, you do not have a stable income according to the bank, so you don't qualify for mortgage. Yeah. You don't qualify for a car loan. You don't qualify for most medical aids, insurance, all of these things that are basic human rights. We don't qualify as soon as you sign that contract. You sign all of those rights, where you sign away the right to collective bargaining, that you and I can come together and say, hey, that boss is doing us wrong.
Is that a unique situation to South Africa? I mean, because people then look at actors in Hollywood and they say, well, if James Earl Jones can be an actor for 50 years and he has amassed so much in terms of his economy, why are South Africans not doing the same? Okay,
so I don't know if you know this, but I started my career in Canada. Okay, so I came from Canada having been an equity member and qualified to be an equity member, and then qualified to be an actor member. That means I can do theater professionally and as part of the union, and I can do film and television, that's actor, as part of a union. I am protected. I am protected.
The protection.
Should something happen on set or during rehearsals of a play, there is an equity rep that will speak for all of us,
Right.
or any of us,
Right.
to the management and say, this is what's going on, and it can be dealt with, so nobody gets to stick out. And the contract stipulates if Nambitha is the equity rep, she will not be treated, badly because she's the one who speaks up, because she speaks for a collective.
Right.
Do you understand?
I remember doing a musical in the Gold Reef Seat at some point in time.
And you had to get a temporary equity.
Yeah.
Yes, you cannot touch a stage.
Yeah.
So that's Canadian law. I know it is the same with SAG-AFTRA in the US. Now, they have the ability to unionize. That's the collective bargaining that I was talking about. In South Africa, we have the South African Guild of Actors. That's this.
Yes.
We are a guild because we are not allowed by law to unionize.
Oh.
Interesting enough, when we talk to the Department of Arts and Culture, when we talk to DL, the only people that quite understood what we're going through is the Department of Trade and Industry. I think now it's with a C and
Competition, yes.
Competition, yes.
Right.
They then understood what was going on, and they helped us to draft the Performance Protection Amendment Bill, and they co-signed it, or I attached it to the Copyright Amendment Bill, so that we can be able to collect our residuals. I'm
out of time. I'm pressed for time.
I'm so sorry. There is so much.
So if you were to say, we are summing it up, I mean, yes, there's the casting couch, but largely the vulnerability of performers is around protection.
It's around protection. Our industry is unregulated. So it does not matter if you're 20 years in the industry or 2 years in the industry or 2 minutes in the industry. You cannot... The way that we cannot collectively bargain, we cannot come together and say, these are the rates.
Yeah.
If you're 20 years, these are the rates. If you're 10 years, these are the rates. Everything is just vulasbuqe, basically. Anybody can come and go. And that is wrong. Nowhere else in the world does that happen. That's why everywhere there's a hierarchy. In your world, there's a hierarchy. In banking, there's a hierarchy. Right now, my housekeeper, who I pay a salary to, can better qualify for a bank loan.
Sure. Because
she has a regular income and a paycheck.
Yeah.
I'm paying that salary and other bills in the house, and I do not qualify. Yeah. But when SARS knocks on my door, they want their money. Where do they think I'm going to get it from?
Sure.
Do you understand how we're vulnerable?
Vulnerable, yeah.
And we sign contracts that further oppress us. And that's why these bills have to be signed. Yeah. And that's why the South African Guild of Actors is standing at the gap and saying, not on our watch. So if you are out there and you're an actor and you're not a member of SAGA, you are keeping yourself vulnerable, because what we do now is we go in and we negotiate certain situations that are vulnerable for you, because producers are going to cut the corners. I mean, it's business, right? They're going to do that. That's the vulnerability you're talking about.
Bottom line. Okay.
Yeah, bottom line. So we come in and we try and protect you from that.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
I have so much, and I'm so excited that you had me here. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. We'll bring you back and take this conversation further.
To the family of Sis Nandi, mabalala ngenxeba, simthandile.
Good sis. That's activist there, Nambitha Mpumlwana. Right, more news when we return to stay with us.